Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Yona of the Dawn, chapter 226. When we last left our heroes, everyone was sort of recovering after the battle. We saw Suwon is starting to get a little better thanks to the Senjutsu. It doesn't seem like it's fully gone, but it's improving. The dragons were having a party now that the battle was over, and Hawk was back, and the Senjutsu was obtained. But they all kind of eventually, fall asleep. But the rain comes, and in order to stop the rain getting into the tent, Yona goes out to grab some sandbags. While she does, she has a brief reunion with Lili's father, who thanks her for everything she's done for Lili. We get a little bit of a reminder that Lili's been missing for a while. She's not really been part of the plot for a good long while now. And then, in the rain, Yona finds Hawk, who is having violent flashbacks of the end of the Battle of Keem Province. And Yona has to kind of comfort him. They nearly have sex. It's a very sweet scene in the storage shed. But they end sort of just holding each other, and it was really cute, okay? It was just a really fucking cute chapter last time. So with that said, let's dive right on in chapter 226, The Tenderness of the Dawn. Which, given, the title of this series, The Dawn feels like it might be talking about Yona. I don't know. But our picture here is of, Yona and Hawk both asleep, Yona, resting her head on his shoulder. It finally came. A moment for the two of them. Only this instant, peacefully. And we pick up the morning after last chapter, as Yona tells Hawk, "Hawk, wake up. Let's go." And Hawk slowly opens his eyes, and he sort of, clutches his head. "Princess, yesterday..." And he thinks for a moment, a dream? Before realizing that if he's here and not in the tent, last night was not a dream. No, that wasn't a dream. Shit. He may have crossed a line. I don't think Yona's complaining too much, but he may have crossed a line from a social standpoint. But Yona's just looking out the door. "Look, the dawn is beautiful." And she turns back to him. We see the sun gleaming across her face. The sky is clear now. And Hawk ties that line back to his sort of PTSD flashbacks from last chapter. "I don't hear the sound of the water anymore. How beautiful." And I love this panel of Yona, the sun gleaming behind her. How beautiful both the silence and her. That's some Hawk Yona vibe. That is some divine Hawk Yona vibes. But then we come back to camp. As Minsu is treating Hawk again, now that Hawk is back in his tent. "Lord Hawk, you look pale." And Hawk questions. I love Ao, by the way, just chilling on Hawk's head. Not really. It's my normal skin color. But Minsu protests, "It's not normal. You absolutely must rest." And Yona goes on, "I'm sorry. I thought that his injuries must have somehow gotten better." Apologizing for what? What exactly do they know about what happened in the storage shed last night? Did she say, "Hawk and I got very close to fucking"? Or, is it just a kind of, I didn't bring him back to his tent, we slept in a place that maybe wasn't exactly, warm, that would, help him heal better? That's probably the more likely option, but I don't know. Minsu goes on, "It's not surprising that he's still severely injured here and there, but Princess, why are you apologizing?" Oh, he's actually asking. Okay, it's something we're supposed to wonder. And Yona reminding us at the end of last chapter, "Because I hit his head with all my strength." And Minsu was just, "Why would you do that?" And Hawk, raises his hand in apology. That's completely on me." And just then, Sheena and Jayhawk come in. "Hawk, it seems you recovered well." But Minsu stops him. "Absolute bed rest." And then they hand him his old glaive. "Look at this. We had your glaive reforged. It was quite worn out." And Hawk seems genuinely happy to get his glaive back. "Wow. I brought it with me so I could believe in your full-bore return." And Hawk just tells him, "Thank you." And then Minsu kneels before Hawk. "Lord Hawk, thanks to the Senjutsu, the condition of His Majesty improved a little. It hasn't completely cured his illness, but thank you very much." So there's a lot more, the earliest bit, everyone with Hawk and the glaive and that whole shit, is sort of the comedy that they bring to the equation, this dynamic brings to the equation. But there's also a lot of serious things that have happened over the past couple dozen chapters. And part of that is Minsu thanking Hak for everything he's done for Suwon, especially given Hak and Suwon's relationship. But Hak just tells him, Yoon gave his all to retrieve it. Your thanks should be given to him. Though it was in the end Hak who got it from Kaji. But Minsu just tells him, okay. And then Hak lies down, I'm gonna sleep for a bit. Sure, by all means. And Hak seems to genuinely be unconscious here. And then Jaeha turns to Yona. That would work well to assure Yoon that the Senjuso and Hak are safe. And Yona comments, Yoon was the one who cried the most when Hak was gone, wasn't he? And Jaeha looks at Yona like, what the fuck are you talking about? Hak is still awake, thinking, glad to hear it, I guess. As Yona accidentally implies that Yoon cared more for Hak than she did. But we cut to Minsu outside, who's lost in thought. The Senjuso. It couldn't cure his illness, but for an instant, it was as if the two of them were reconnected by it. So hold on, is Minsu saying there the Senjuso may have alleviated Suwon's pain, but that he's still definitively dying? Or, I sort of had this question last time, but I was too focused on the Hak-Yona vibes of it all to really focus on this question. So it's saying that the Senjuso is definitively not going to work, he might be in less pain, but he'll still die from the illness. Or is it saying that it needs more time to work, it needs more doses? Though I suppose there's very little doses of the Senjuso in general. So maybe it's the same either way. Either way, the two of them are reconnected by it, and he flashes back to that moment of Hak falling into Suwon. It tugs on my heartstrings that he doesn't want him to suffer, even after everything that happened. And then Minsu still thinks, will we be able to bring this Senjuso to Lady Mei-Nyan as well? Which does call to attention the fact that not only do they not have a lot of doses of the Senjuso, I imagine, for one person, they need to have enough for two because there's Mei-Nyan as well. I want to quickly go back to the castle, and then we move into a flashback. I think Battle of Keen Province, Koka Kingdom versus South Kai Empire. Was the battle we just got out of also in Keen? Would that also be a Battle of Keen Province, or is that just the one with Hak? It seems to me that the battle we were just in was the Battle of Keen Province, and that the thing with Hak was a prelude battle, I guess. Because the narrator is sort of giving events of the past, the aftermath of the battle. With the retreat of the South Kai army, the Koka army obtained victory. However, there has not been any discussion for a ceasefire, and the Koka army, in fear of another attack, couldn't move from the grounds of Keen Province. But we see the army kind of just they're a little bit on edge, but they are genuinely resting. We see the Wind Tribe gang all hanging out from Haewoo, I think is his name, right? The one who stayed behind and fought with Hak. I believe was Haewoo, right? Handae. I got Taewoo and Handae mixed up in my head. It was Handae. As Taewoo gets onto him, we see Jungi and Kyoga. As Jungi's fine, he didn't really fight at all, but Kyoga's bandaged up. We see Judo and Guntae getting into an argument as Kaisok watches them. Just sort of, they're still where they are. They're still ready for a counterattack, or ready for another attack from Kai, but they're resting more or less. And then we see Yona looking up into the sky, and Hak still in bed, and then Suwon clutching that bag of the Senjuso. Meanwhile, at Hiryu Castle. So this page ends with the line, "You can't, Mei-Nyan," which I imagine is going to be Yoon, but as a reminder, one of the 8 generals, whose name I've forgotten, I think it was Vol. Vol is on his way to Hiryu to simultaneously rescue Mei-Nyan and or burn it all down. So maybe we're going to deal with that next? Either way, it is Yoon. You understand you definitely can't leave the castle, right? Mei-Nyan's throwing a fit. I do, but I don't understand either. Are you a kid? But it's so unfair. I'm never allowed to leave the room, yet you get to go play in the castle town. She does seem oddly childish here, right? When we met Mei-Nyan initially, she was sort of conniving and scheming, and maybe, we learned as time went on that she was sort of forced into that role by her circumstances, but she still was sort of a good strategist, smart and sort of not childish, mature, right? And now she's throwing a tantrum. It's sort of a weird shift for her. Either way, you get to go play in the castle town. Like, that line in particular just feels really off to me. But Yoon tells her, I don't go there to play. I'm looking for medicinal herbs. I'll be your bodyguard, Yoon. If you meet someone creepy, I'll beat them up. But Yoon gets on to her. Kuuto is not that unsafe. Yeah, Vol's coming. That's what that line is foreshadowing. Kuuto is not that unsafe until one of Chogol's generals gets here and fucks it all up. And Mei-Nyan goes on, please, I'm suffocating here. I just want to see the outside world before I die. I swear I won't escape. I will say, as someone who lives in a studio apartment, and as someone who was in a wreck last week and like doesn't have my car at the moment, I relate to Mei-Nyan here. Like, I've been pacing my apartment for like 2 days now. Like, I feel her pain. But Yoon just tells her, you can ask the others when they're back. I'm heading out. And she somehow, like, has gotten ahead of Yoon? I'm not sure how that happens. Bring me with you. And Yoon's just now, how did you inside a second ago? And Mei-Nyan sort of coyly tells him, it's as simple as misdirection. But I told you it would be a bother. The guard is, and they look outside, and Hyuri is still just like there. Hyuri, whose main occupation is being Suwon's strongest personal bodyguard. But Mei-Nyan doesn't seem too concerned by that. Then you come with us too. Like, this feels, especially this last panel of Mei-Nyan, feels a lot more like the kind of scheming, intelligent, like, foe that Mei-Nyan was initially introduced as opposed to what we saw the past couple pages. I will say, though, before I was like, Vol will come here soon, maybe by chapter's end, like, the cliffhanger will be Vol arriving in Kuuto or something. But with this scene right here, they're gonna find Vol. Like, this trio will be out and about town, and they'll just randomly run into Vol. At some point, before they get back to the castle, I'm willing to bet by the end of the chapter. And we see they have left the castle. Yoon is just kind of stunned. Mei-Nyan's on cloud 9 over there. We really left the castle. And we see, like, Hyuri in the distance. It should be fine, right? If he's on the lookout. So scary. But Mei-Nyan is just, like, living. I love her little... Not a squirrel. I think it might be a rabbit, right? No, I think it is a squirrel. It's just a weird squirrel. I forget the squirrel's name, though. Just hanging out in Mei-Nyan's hood. Real cute. It feels good. Hello, outside world. Then she's a little more serious and turns to Yoon. Have some faith in me. I won't run off anywhere. You stayed in the castle and nursed me, even though you wanted to be with your friends on the battlefield after all. I won't run away nor betray you. And Yoon sort of acknowledges that, honestly, I'm grateful that Mei-Nyan is here. Waiting all alone for Yona and the dragons, and Hawk's return is hard. So we see that, like, because he doesn't know what's happened on the battlefield, he's still, like, caught up in that nervousness. And Mei-Nyan mentions, you remind me of a boy I was close to in South Kai, which I'm certain is going to be Kaji, which is why I hope Kaji's still alive. It was left ambiguous if Hawk killed him or just stole the Senjutsu back in 224. I'm hoping he's alive, especially if we're going to start setting up parallels between Kaji and Yoon. I don't know, I feel like I feel like there's still more drama to be mined from Kaji. And Yoon just comments, is that so? Well, he loves plants, he's a bit cheeky, and he's a real crybaby. That's an interesting line. Like, the fact that he loves plants, you could sort of see with his taking of the Senjutsu, but it's still a little sudden. But, like, that's, or it's not sudden, but it feels very relevant that is, like, part of Kaji's, like, character work now, right? Because, like, Yoon the herbalist, now being like, paralleled with Kaji, that all seems important. And then she comments, I heard he became a general after me, but were you deployed in the battle? Kaji? Oh, yes, he was. And then we see Lili for the first time in a long time. Oh, isn't that Yoon? Lili? And Yora and Tora, too. So you came. Where have they been? Because, like, last I checked, wasn't there a bit with, like, Lili and, like, a marriage suitor plotline or something? And her bodyguards are there, so that's fun. But it's just been a real long time since we've seen Lili. I feel like it's been years since Lili showed up. And Lili just comments, I thought you went to the battlefield with Yona. Well, I had some business here. Oh, I'm on my way to Ogi's place. Would you like to join me? He might have information about the battle. do we know? I feel like I should know who Ogi is, but it's escaping me at the moment. I don't think we definitely would know who she's talking about. An information broker. Okay. Right. I remember him now, very vaguely. Right. Because, and as an information broker, you have information on the battle, right. And Yona's just, I really want to know, but Mei-Nyan is here. And then one of the bodyguards, I forget if this is a Yora or Tetora, because again, it's been a long time, this is Tetora, who comments, we have soju for the guests you brought with you too. And Mei-Nyan, ignoring all of like the particular, uncomfortable arrangements of her being here, just comments, count me in. But Mei-Nyan is just, wait, no you can't. But Lili just tells him, don't worry, I'll talk to Ogi and let him know. And Yoon, who can't quite say he has an enemy general, like, going to the store with him. That's not the problem. I'm telling you, we really can't. And they're at the liquor shop now, as Yoon just thinks we ended up coming. And then we see Ogi, who sees Yoon, I think. Oh, it's been a while, kid. But Yoon is sort of thinking, and we see Hyuri is still there in the background. Hyuri's also here, but it's definitely risky. And he sort of whispers to Mei-Nyan, Mei-Nyan, please behave. You have to promise. Jeez, I get it. And Ogi then sort of comments reveals to Yoon, kiddo, Coco won the battle. Really? I don't know yet if South Kai's retreat is only temporary, so take it with a grain of salt. But it seemed that they claimed victory in Kim Province. And Yona gets right to the chase. Are Princess Yona and the dragon safe? I can't say for certain, but at the very least we can assume Princess Yona isn't dead, right? And Yoon is just overwhelmed with emotions, knowing his friends are safe. Lili jumps onto him. Of course she isn't. And Tetora sighs. What a relief. And Yoon just sort of, fighting back tears, thinks, Hawk. I wonder if they found Hawk. Which I guess Ogi doesn't know yet. And Mei-Nyan is watching all this with this sort of look of not really caring about what's going on here. And then just takes a swig. Tetora comments, oh my, we have a good drinker here. And after a while, I guess some more time passes, they get drunk, or they do some more drinking, and Yoon turns to Mei-Nyan, Mei-Nyan, let's go back. Mei-Nyan, who's a little under the influence, you can see the sort of blush in her nose. I know, Anna, things are getting spicy in the girl-only gathering right now. And Tetora just laughs, oh, love talk alongside drinks, huh? And Ayora comments, well, there's that story when Tetora had a crush on Lord Junki, but and Tetora just snaps, I'm going to kill you, Ayora. I've missed the Lili gang. I have very vague memories of them in particular, but I just remember them being a lot of fun, and I'm glad they're back. But Yoon just protests Mei-Nyan, and Mei-Nyan turns to the girls, love stories, huh? If we're going to talk about love stories, you want to hear an innocent story or a lewd one? And Tetora just comments, oh no, I'm sobering up. Let's go with the Lou, and Ayora stops her. Don't. We're in front of children. Why are there children in the liquor shop? I don't think Yoon really... How old is Yoon meant to be, right? Because looking at the wiki, Ayora, who I already had up, is 24. Oh yeah, Yoon's 15. Damn, yeah, that's a kid to her, I suppose. But then Mei-Nyan just comments, but that guy might have already died in battle. And Tetora just sort of laughs. This is the innocent story. I don't really care. It's not like we can meet anyway. Oh my. And we seem to have moved into flashback or something. It's unclear how much Mei-Nyan is actually saying out loud. Because we see a younger Mei-Nyan comment, it seems it will become His Majesty Chago's concubine, but... And I think this is a young Kaji commenting, is that so? What do you think? If you tell me not to, I'll... Congratulations. Oh no, this is Val, my bad. I mean, that guy Val doesn't give a damn about me. There was nothing between us to begin with. So again, how much is she... if she dropped Chago's name, that's a big thing to just drop. Tetora just goes on, this is the partner in the innocent story, isn't it? So bittersweet. You even ended up venting all your feelings here. And Mei-Nyan's just going on, Val, you idiot! She's drunk and ranting, I think, at this point. And Yoon comments in turn, Mei-Nyan, you idiot. And then Hyuri pops up and just grabs Mei-Nyan by the scruff of the neck before she reveals too much information. And Mei-Nyan just screams, "No, I want to drink and chat more!" And Totoro waves her goodbye. See you next time. And Yoon turns to Lili. Lili, we're leaving now. Wait. What is it? Well, it's just these last few days, there have been some repeated incidents at Kuuto, and Ogi, and Yuto cuts her off, incidents. And Ogi tells him, no, it's just that occasionally some stuff happens, you know? Like guys at the barricade drinking themselves unconscious and dying. Or the palace guards at the castle town slipping in the river. That kind of stuff. But since right now the king and the generals aren't at the castle, people are simply telling themselves to be extra careful. I'm not sure how that's Vol, but it feels Vol-related. I feel like that wouldn't be brought up like this if it were going to tie into what we know is coming to Kuuto very soon. Then we cut to, Yoon's taking that information in, and he's back out with Mei-Nyan, carrying her home, basically. It was so fun. Really fun. I want to go again. Yes. And thinks, that's enough now. I won't bring her again. But, well, I'm glad you didn't have any episodes and was able to enjoy it so much. And then he turns over to Hyuri. Hey, Hyuri, sir, can you carry her and go home first? But Hyuri's focused on something, which I'm almost certain is going to end up being Val. Sir? What? And Hyuri, runs off, and Yoon at this point is, losing, I think he's trying to put Mei-Nyan down. Hey, wait, where are you? And then someone extends his hand to Mei-Nyan. Are you alright? We're fine. Mei-Nyan slaps the hand away. Who's that? Don't touch me. It's Val. It's definitely Val. But Yoon is just, calm down. And then Ho, the squirrel's name I forgot earlier, jumps into this new stranger. My little Ho! And yep, it's Val. Which sobers Mei-Nyan right up. Actually, I have a question. A quick little question. Because in the flashback, I initially assumed that it wasn't Val, because I thought Val had dark skin, right? But given the rest of the context of the flashback, it definitely was Val. But now here he is, and he does have dark skin. I was right. So why was he white in that flashback? I don't understand why that was. Not important, though. The important thing is, I was right. They would find Val before they made it back to the castle, and probably by chapter's end. And Mei-Nyan is sort of stunned. Val? And she's just shocked to see him. As Val comments, hey, your hair. It's so short. Right, because she's been gone since she cut her hair a while back. What? Why are you here? What did you come for? And Val just tells her, you already know why. Which, okay, so I forget. Because there's a bunch of, conflicting feelings around the Val and Choggle stuff a while back, right? Because I think Choggle wanted Val to burn Kuuto down, including Mei-Nyan, right? To also take out, let Mei-Nyan die, who gives a damn. But Val, I thought, didn't want that. Was going to burn down Kuuto, sure, but was not going to take down Mei-Nyan. So the question there is, you already know why. I feel like that's more about his direct orders, and less about what Val might actually do. But either way, Mei-Nyan gets the message, and she's panicked now. She throws Val's hand away. Leave! Don't come any closer! Don't come near me! And Yoon is just shocked. Mei-Nyan, who is... He's a pursuer. He's here to take me away. And Val's just sort of... Val thought she was a prisoner. And so he's just commenting, what's this? You're not imprisoned at all. And you seem pretty lively. Exactly! I live happily here now, so don't get in my way. Tell the Emperor I'm already dead. And give my little hoe back. Which actually, I think is kind of the first time we've really seen this sort of... this is a stance that could have been implied from Mei-Nyan, but I think this is the first time we're directly seeing it. Being that, she wants... she wants to be part of Koka now. She wants to be away, or if not part of Koka, at least away from Choggle, at the very least. Let Choggle think I'm dead. Who cares? And so we'll see how that clashes with her and Val now. Anyway, give my little hoe back. Little hoe is the one clinging to me. But she just goes on, let my little hoe go! And she throws a kick at Val, which he blocks with his hand, but in the end ends up dropping Ho. And Mei-Nyan goes to catch her. My little Ho! But then Val just as she's lunging for Ho, grabs her by, like, the collar and slams her into the ground. As Yoon yells, "Mei-Nyan! I'm giving your little Ho back. But I can't go home empty-handed either. I'm bringing you back with me to South Kai." In the castle from which Yona and company are absent, an uproar looms. Continues in issue 15, July 5th. Okay, So, that answers that question. Val is going to follow Chagol's orders here. And I'm curious if it genuinely is, he doesn't give a damn about Mei-Nyan, he's going to do the job, which doesn't quite seem right, or if it's more about his own position. Like, he can't, if he comes back to Chagol empty-handed, he's fucked, right? And so he cares more about not getting killed by Chagol than he does about Mei-Nyan's safety. Maybe that's it. But anyway, let's focus on the chapter as a whole for a minute. Because we have, even more, like, last bits of denouement from the aftermath of the battle, right? As we see, after... Like, I love this first scene, though. The whole bit with them waking up in the storage shed... And the way that, like, the lack of rain and how that alleviates, the traumatic episode that Hawk was having is, like, tied to Yona in the sunrise. It's really good. It's a really well-constructed little bit. And then we have a bit more commenting on just everything with Suwon, not directly, but, like, Minsu's thoughts on, the two of them are reconnected by the Senjutsu just for a bit. And how much of a development that is. And then we just see that, like, the army's staying put for now. We don't know when a counterattack will come. Suwon is holding on to that Senjutsu, though, and all it means for his emotional state. And then we sort of come back to the castle. We get the Mei-Nyan stuff, which is, again, I find, like, Mei-Nyan being a sort of annoying drunk is one thing. I still find her childishness in the first bit, like, a little weird. It's one thing when she's, like, not herself, when she's very, very drunk. But it's another when she's, like, perfectly sober. But we do get Lili and her bodyguards back, which are nice to have. They're always fun to be around. But it's all, there's a little bit of, like, sweet moments. Yoon learning that the gang is fine, that the battle was won. A little bit of, like, foreboding. Like, now that Val is here... The stuff that Ogi tells Yoon at the end, the stuff about guys at the barricade drinking themselves unconscious and dying, and palace guards slipping in the river, that all doesn't seem connected to when we find Val. But also the question there is, why does Hyuri run off, right? Like, maybe that's... Because Hyuri doesn't seem to run towards Val. If he did, he would be here, and not, letting all this happen. Like, the question is, what happened... What did Hyuri see? We don't know. That allowed Val to come in and, like, do all this to Mei-Nyan. Because it might have been a distraction. Something Val... Like, it sure is a weird coincidence that Hyuri runs off towards something unnamed right as Val swoops in and confronts Mei-Nyan. But I don't know. We'll have to sort of see about that next time. And then... We have that last scene with Val, and I'm still assuming there's, like, more to Val than just following Chagol. I don't think Val is happy about what he's doing, and I'm curious how that sort of inner conflict will end up shaping his actions going forward. But for now, I don't know. Like, there's a whole lot this chapter sets up. We're moving into a new, at least part of the arc. If we consider the whole South Kai stuff to be the same arc, then we're not in the new arc, but we're at least in a new segment of it. The battle is over. It's not quite a rest, as by chapter's end, we're right back in the thick of new things with Val. But we are it's largely a transitional chapter until that last bit. Until that brings you back, until Val shows up and the shit hits the fan. But yeah, nowhere near the highs of the last chapter, but there's still a lot of good stuff here. Particularly in the end with Val, and I'm really curious how his whole story is going to go, his relationship with Mei-Nyan, all that stuff, because Mei-Nyan does seem to have feelings for him, and seems to be very upset that he does not seem to return those feelings. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see all about that next time. So So for now, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!